Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to talk about Married at First Sight. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to check out my website, LibidoRosaStyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. The link is down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. So people who are subscribed to me, y'all are probably wondering why this review is so late. I got a strike on my channel and I wasn't allowed to post for 7 days. I wasn't allowed to make any community posts. I wasn't able to upload anything. And so I was not able to put up my review in time, you guys. That was killing me because YouTube is what I do. So I really hate the fact that I wasn't able to like put this review up and talk with you guys. But I just wanted to let y'all know that is the reason why it wasn't up. If you are watching this, please watch the whole thing. I missed out on revenue for last week, so please watch this and please support me. Please like, comment, all that, because it's been a rough couple of days. I think at this point I did a live talking more in depth on this, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this aggravating episode. Let's begin with Virginia and Eric. Okay, so Virginia and Eric are really feeling each other. Okay, for real. The chemistry is there, but they're super lovey-dovey, super touchy. She's kissing him. He's, you know, blushing and grinning. So it's very cute. He did sit her down and tell her that he was previously married. He said, he pretty much did it because he was in the Air Force, and in order for them to be together, they had to be married. He said he never really had a big official wedding. They never wore wedding rings. Is that what he said? I feel like I heard that, but I could be lying, y'all. I could have heard that wrong. He said they were together for 6 years and they divorced 3 years ago. And I feel like that's enough time for him to be over that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you have a long-term ex or you've been married before, I think at least a year or two. At least. Like, no one who's been even engaged 4 months ago should be allowed. So I feel like in that aspect, Virginia has nothing to worry about. Also, Eric seems like because that didn't work out, he really wants, you know, this to work out. So I would think that he would do everything he would need to make it work out, but it just, I don't know if Virginia is the one. That's the sad part about that. So Eric met up with Virginia's parents, and the only thing that really stuck out to me about the meeting is that the dad said that his relationship with her mom and their divorce made her hesitant to want to commit, and that she's really guarded and she doesn't open up. And I'm like, okay, more red flags. If we didn't have enough already, here goes some more. Then she went to meet up with Eric's mother and family friend. The mother made sure to tell Virginia that being a pilot's wife is challenging because they're gone 4 days out of the week. And Virginia was like, you know, that's okay because I need my space or whatever. Honestly, I don't know if I would be too mad about that either. Like, because I do like to have my own space, you know. I guess it would be lonely at night, but like, yeah, I would love to have a couple of days to myself. But girls, that laugh reminded me of how she's always... I thought maybe it was because she was drunk on her wedding day, but no, she's really that all the time. And I'm just like, Virginia, calm down. She's just very bubbly, I guess. I also said, you know, why would they sign up a man who's barely going to be home? And on top of that, you already know the days he's gone, she's going to be partying. So I think she'll be all right while he's gone. Then they ask her about children. She says she's 50-50 on children, and the mom is really pressing for grandchildren. What is up with these people? Y'all stay out of my ovaries. Like, that's between me and my husband. I understand you want grandchildren, but back up. I feel like that's a little bit too intrusive, especially for people who just met each other. You know what I'm saying? Virginia and Eric talk about it later, and he presses that he wants children. He's set on it. And she was like, well, maybe if we wait a couple of years. Virginia ain't ready to be nobody's mama right now. And hopefully they wait and are taking and will take the proper, you know, steps so that she doesn't become a mother so quickly, because I don't even think she's ready to be married, let alone be a mother. But we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully they wait longer than some other people on this show. Okay, let's move on to Jacob the robot and Haley. I'm still not convinced he's not a robot. He's still very robotic in his mannerisms. He only has about 3 or 4 topics of conversation that he goes to. And not only does he talk about those things, he goes in depth. He has to show you like his security footage of his house, of his sauna, of his pool, of his beach. And it's like, okay, that's cute, but can we talk about something else? Why we have to talk about steak and eggs all the time? Why is that your only forms of conversation? Is that because that's the only thing that your programmer put in you to say? Because I'm gonna need for you to get an upgrade then. We need the iOS update of Jacob, because he can only talk about 3 or 4 subjects at this point. It is very awkward between the two of them. Haley is smiling a lot and nodding a lot, and you could tell she's not really feeling the situation. It's making me so uncomfortable to even watch them have a conversation. I think what she's thinking in her head is just smile through it, but it's coming off so forced. Like the situation between them is so forced. Like I said, he's very robotic and monotone in his voice, and he's not shy. That's not it. But he's very he doesn't really have much of an he doesn't have really much personality, so it's really left upon Haley to keep the conversation interesting and moving, and I would be so annoyed by that. This really is like a Henry 2.0. Like, he's a little bit more advanced, but not really. She met with his parents, and they said that he's always act like he was an old man, like he's 5 going on 85, and I'm like, okay, that explains a little bit more. He does act like a very old 38-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Like 38 ain't that old for him to be acting like a grandpapa. They also said that he's a loner, and she made it clear that she's the opposite. Like, she likes to have people around and, you know, have company. So hopefully they don't clash with that. I think the reason why he doesn't have a lot of company and he's a loner is because he just doesn't have much of a personality. Not because I don't know if he's alone by choice. So he met it with her family. One thing they did tell him about her is that she is known to shut down and she will need her space. I will see how that goes. I really don't have much hope for them anymore. In the beginning, I thought that they would be able to make it until decision day and they would say yes, but eventually not work out. But I just don't know if she gonna say yes on decision day. Not unless he's gonna have to really step up. Let's move on to Clara and Ryan. She literally never stops talking. She talks in her sleep, and she moves around, she sleepwalks. This girl is an Energizer bunny. She just never quits. And I'm just like, that is gonna get on Ryan's nerves. I don't care what nobody says. He seems like the type to like to be chill and laid back and mellow at some point, and she is always on go. And so I don't know, I feel like that's gonna clash a little bit. Clara goes and meets with Ryan's parents. Ryan's parents are ministers, and Clara says she went to Bible college for a year and really hasn't been to church since. She's kind of got burnt out on that. So I wonder how that is going to go down the line, especially if they want to have kids, because she seems like she doesn't want to raise her kids under organized religion, and he seems like he would. So I don't know. I wonder how that's going to be in the long run. That's something else though, the experts. Why would y'all match up 2 people that have different backgrounds when it comes to that? Because I know it would be a deal breaker for me if they matched me up with someone who didn't believe in God and going to church every Sunday. But I'm glad she did not bring that up with the parents. Let's not have to go through this on the first talk with one another. You know what I'm saying? Ryan's brother was there, and I was happy to see his brother there. His only contribution to the conversation is that Ryan has no felonies. I think we can look at Ryan and see that he doesn't have any felonies. So that's good to know, though. They seem like they weren't all the way comfortable with Ryan getting married at first sight, but they were gonna, like, you know, maybe this is the way God wants things to work out, you know what I'm saying? And they praying for him. And then he met with her parents. The only thing I got from this conversation is that her parents never argued in front of her, therefore they didn't teach her any healthy conflict resolution. I'm like, out of all the time that y'all been married, y'all never argued in front of her ever? That's like, what in the Leave It to Beaver? Like, okay, I didn't grow up in a household with my parents together, but I just assumed that, you know, there would be times where the kids would just see the parents argue. Maybe y'all don't want to have like the knockdown dragouts in front of the kids, but, you know, at least let them know, you know, we don't always get along. But I guess maybe back in the day, that's how it was. You didn't want to like show your kids that. It was different back then. He brought up this conversation to Clara, and she said that she didn't have any, but she was in a 3-year relationship and they picked at each other over small things, and they would never really confront each other on like the hard things to talk about. So she's learned from that situation. He said, he didn't say to her, but he said in his confessional that they may have an issue with communication because he has an issue with communication. And so I feel like that's going to be another obstacle for them. But so far they've been communicating very well. Like, for people that, you know, have a hard time with conflict, they seem to be communicating very well so far. So hopefully they will keep that up. Let's move on to Vincent and Brianna. Oh my goodness, these two. Even though I got some red flags for Vincent this episode, I'm still very hopeful. I'm hopeful that they will just push through and be an amazing couple. He is attracted to her, she's attracted to him. Both of them are each other's type. So I thought that was great as far as the matchup. Like, physically they're attracted, they seem to have chemistry. I thought it was real cute when Vincent was like, what your number is, put your number in my phone. Like, they exchanged numbers. And Brianna met with Vincent's family, and they say he's a workaholic. And they also said that he has a little bit of a temper, and when he gets mad, he needs to be calmed down. And I was like, okay, Vincent, that made me look at him, because he seems really chill and very calm. But you got to watch out for those, because those be the main ones that be having an attitude. You know, they'll blow up. Trust me, I'm one of those that can be chill and calm. I can blow up. So, but it also made me wonder, like, what do y'all mean by that? Like, is it like he goes crazy, like he's Tasmanian devil go crazy type of mad? Or is it just he gets like angry quickly, he has a short temper? I needed more information. Then we see Vincent meet with her family, and he said that he just got out of a 2-year relationship at the beginning of that year. And I think they got married during the summer of that year, if I'm not mistaken. So that means 6 months ago he was in a relationship for 2 years. And he only left the relationship because the woman did not support his dream. And so I'm a little concerned about that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was the same way I was concerned about Chris being out of a relationship for only 4 months. He's only been out of a 2-year relationship for 6. And so that concerns me. Cause like, did you do this out of spite? Did you want to hurry up and move on because you wanted to show her? I don't know. That does make me give the side eye. I'm not going to overlook that simply because I think they're cute together. So like I said, Vincent was giving a little bit more red flags than I thought. Later when they met up, they were telling each other how their meetings went with their family. And she brought up the fact that his family said he had, you know, a temper problem, and he said that wasn't true. But Vincent was low-key, he looked like he got a little irritated right there. And I was like, did we get a little, he didn't let himself, you know, feel it. But he looked like he got a little irritated right then. Even though I probably would be a little irritated too if I felt like I didn't have a temper problem. You say I did, but I just don't know why they would say that if it wasn't true, Vincent. So I don't know. He claims it takes a lot for him to get mad. I'm going to talk more about Vincent and Brianna when we get to the beginning of the honeymoon. But let's move on. Y'all know who we finna talk about. Paige and Chris. So the next morning after the honeymoon, right, we see Paige just sitting in the room looking upset, looking lonely, looking confused, looking a little bit hurt, because Chris had left downstairs to go get breakfast and didn't come back for a few hours. Didn't let her know that he wasn't coming back, just left his wife that he just met in the room, claiming he was going to get breakfast. So when he came back, first of all, when he came back, he was acting like didn't nothing happen. Like, and she had to bring it up. She had to be like, well, what was it? Oh, why was I gone? Yeah, why was you gone? It was just so much secondhand embarrassment for me during this conversation. Because he said he had a panic attack and he low-key was trying not to cry and putting his head down, and she came over and, you know, was trying to be a good wife, you know what I'm saying, and hold his hand and said, look at me, you know, we made a vow, we're gonna make it through, you know, look at me in my eye, you need to be able to tell me things, all that, all, you know, the good wife spiel. I do feel like Paige would be a good wife to a good man, but I digress. While she's holding his hand, this man looks in her face and says, on paper, that they match and they're really good together, but his attraction for her is not all the way there. When I tell you, I would have threw that man's hand back in his I would have threw his hand back in his face so hard. When I tell you, this had to be the single most awkward moment I've ever seen on this show, in the history of this show, and I've seen all the seasons. Like, they were literally just sitting there in silence, and eventually he just got in his phone and act like he didn't just totally drop a bomb on their whole marriage. He was just literally acting like it was nothing. Paige then told us that not only had they consummated their marriage that night, but also that morning. And he waited until after both of those times to tell her that he was not attracted to her. So basically, you used your wife. You slept with your wife, even though you knew you were not attracted to her. What a sleazeball. What a jerk. What a grimy. Oh, there's not enough words to describe those actions. Just disgusting. Just nasty. I felt so bad for Paige. I felt so bad for her. I mean, just imagine how devastated she feels. Like, how used she feels. And then on top of that, he was like low-key crying and weaponizing like his mental health. I had a panic attack. I mean, maybe he did have a panic attack, but it's like he was using that to manipulate the situation. I was so disgusted by it. And I wasn't even gonna go here, but Chris, you are not fine. You are not. You walk around here like you Boris Kojo, like you Morris Chestnut, like you're Diggy, and you're not. You're not, okay? You're not on that level, honey. You're very much average, and if let some of the people in these comments tell it, you ain't cute at all right? I really wish Paige would have turned around and said, I'm not attracted to you either. You know what I'm saying? Or something. Like, I know it wouldn't have been true, but just I just hated how this situation is going, because Paige is a beautiful girl, and she just really does not deserve this at all. But later on, she met with his family, and she let them know exactly. She let them know that they consummated their marriage, and that he then told her the next day that he was not attracted to her. And here comes his mama trying to defend him. She claimed she wasn't trying to justify his actions, and she was like, you know, people handle things differently, and had he had a drink, I could not believe that his mom really tried to justify that. You are one of the main reasons Chris is the way he is. You enable him. You enable his actions by coming up with an excuse for his jacked up ways. Yeah, I see why Chris is the way he is. At first, I thought his dad was going to redeem himself a little bit, because he was saying how he didn't agree with how he handled this situation. But then in his confessional, he said, I'm glad I raised a gentleman who would be honest. A gentleman wouldn't have slept with someone he knew he wasn't attracted to. He will handle her feelings with care. That's what a gentleman would do. And yeah, I see exactly why Chris is the way he is. He's never had to take accountability for anything, because people are going to come right in with an excuse for him. You could just see how this family fostered a totally toxic environment. So later on, he met up with his own family and not hers. What is going on with that? Why was he able to not meet up with her family? Everybody else had to meet up with their partner's family except for him. Why? Why? I need someone to explain this for me. Why? So Chris was trying to make it seem like, you know, I'm just not attracted to her, and, you know, just bring up that whole situation. And the dad brought up the consummation. So his dad did, you know, put that out there like, well, why did you sleep with her if you weren't attracted to her? And he was like, you know, he thought that would make him feel closer to her and give them a deeper connection. I feel like the dad did try to check him, but I think he tried to check him only because they were on TV, you know what I'm saying? And it looked really bad. So I think he wanted to make the situation look better. But all of y'all trifling, and we see it. We see it. So then Paige and Chris sit down again. Paige is much less understanding this time around. I'm like, thank you, Paige. Thank you. Thank you for seeing him for who he actually is. Like, he's literally with his head down, acting like he's crying. And so I saw no tears. Why are you crying? Why are you the one crying? If anybody should be crying, it should be Paige, that she's matched up with someone like you. In a very dry, sarcastic tone, she's like, why are you crying? I would have had a whole attitude with him too. And he said he felt like she was dead wrong to talk about their sex life with his parents, and he acted like she broke some type of street code and was being disrespectful to his family. I don't talk about that kind of stuff with my family. How dare you? He felt like she was trying to tell on him like he was a child. And I'm like, well, you are being childish. She walked in the door and you were crying like a baby. And there were no tears. Under normal circumstances, I would agree with Chris. You don't go around telling everybody about, you know, our intimate life. You know, that's between us. But in this case, she deserved to, because you were acting very erratic. You were being fake to a certain degree. And I feel like she had every right to tell your parents what you were up to, because they need to see what type of man they raised. She asked her guy friends about how he treated this situation, and they said yes, that's very abnormal for a man to sleep with someone they're not attracted to. Even though I don't think it's that abnormal, I think it's abnormal in this situation for you to do something like that. But in real life, men do that all the time. Let's be real, men do that all the time. But I didn't see a problem with her bringing that up to anybody else, because Chris, you disappeared. Who else was she supposed to talk to? Who else was she supposed to discuss this with? You weren't there to talk to. And honestly, I think he doesn't want her to talk to other people because he wants to continue to be manipulative. He wants to control the narrative of this situation. He's like, don't listen to other people. Listen to me and my stupid illogical argument that doesn't make any sense. And me jump up and down and have a tantrum and blow and walk out of the room and act a fool when I'm wrong. So later on, he ended up apologizing for his attitude, and she's still committed to this situation. After all that, she's still committed. Paige, at some point, I'm going to place some of this responsibility on you. Even though you was matched up with someone that's completely crazy, you have the ability to leave. You have the ability to say, no, I'm not dealing with this, and you're still choosing to. So, girl, she said God ordained for them to be together, and I'll wait. And that she's going to try to work it out, because, Paige, sometimes people miss God. Sometimes you think you heard God and you didn't. I think this is a situation of you really wanted to be married and you convinced yourself that you heard God because you really wanted this situation to be the right one for you. But clearly it's not. This man is giving you every sign. This is literally the most red signs we've ever seen from any husband in the history of this show. This quick on the wedding day, and it just keeps getting worse, and you're willing to stick around. I just don't understand it. It makes me feel like Paige has a little bit of self-esteem issues, because there's no way I stick around and be with a man who said they weren't attracted to me and would sleep with me anyway. You know what I'm saying? You have no respect for me whatsoever to begin with. We have nothing solid to build on. Y'all, I cannot. All that said and done, they managed to get past that. I don't know how, but everybody gets on the plane and they're getting ready to go to Las Vegas, because I'm imagining this was a time where there was a travel ban against America, where we couldn't travel anywhere because of C-19 and how many cases that we had over here. We were literally a hot spot as a whole, so none of the other countries wanted us to come there. So they had to go to Las Vegas for their honeymoon. Anyway, when they first land, Vincent finds out that his grandmother had a heart attack, and that is such a hard thing to go through and to not be near your grandmother and to have all of this going on. You just got married, you're on your honeymoon, you don't want to ruin your honeymoon for your partner, but your mind is with your grandmother. Like, if my grandmother had a heart attack, I'm sorry, I would have to, like, we gonna have to go immediately. I don't care if I just touched down, we're gonna have to find another plane back, because my grandmother is my heart, so I just wouldn't be able to do it. But I understand he wants to, like, you know, he doesn't want to ruin the experience for his grandmother, for his wife, and I'm sure his grandmother has, like, you know, people there with her. She was there for him, she was very comforting for him, and he really appreciated that from her. And so yeah, they just look like they're gonna make it, y'all. They just do. Like, you know, he might have his faults. I'm sure some of her not so pleasant attributes are gonna come up as well, but they seem like they're gonna make it through. Hopefully he's over his ex. That's my other thing that I was worried about too. But y'all let me know what y'all think about all of what I said down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Especially about this Chris situation. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.